What's going on, real MVPs? Brandon Swanson here, and I'm doing my last preview. It is the New Orleans Saints. And I know last year I came on and I was able to do the New Orleans Saints then as well, and I said the New Orleans Saints were going to be much better, much improved defensively. Who was right? I will raise my hand. That is me, raise my hand as high as I can, because I was absolutely correct. And honestly, it wasn't too hard to be correct because the New Orleans Saints had been so poor defensively before last season. They really took a step in the right direction, and minus one big mishap against the Vikings, Marcus Williams, he will learn to never dive for the air again and wait until the receiver has the ball and then try and make contact. That is a good learning lesson for him. But the New Orleans Saints, they're looking good again this year. I think that they are going to be very good. We saw Alvin Kamara come out and be just an absolute stud. Mark Ingram is suspended for the first 4 games of the season. But no worries. No worries, because Kamara is in control. So let's get to it. Week 1. The Saints are at home. They're taking on Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay does not have Jameis Winston. He ain't going to be eating W's. He's going to be watching a loss, because Ryan Fitzpatrick is not going to be the savior. The New Orleans Saints get the win at home. Week 2, they welcome the Cleveland Browns into town. The Cleveland Browns, a much improved team, but the New Orleans Saints, remember, still a very good team, and I like what they can do in the secondary. They are going to attack Cleveland. It's going to be tough for Tyrod Taylor to be getting any deep passes in that game. So New Orleans starts the season off 2-0. Week 3, they head to Atlanta for what will be a very good game, but it will be a game that the New Orleans Saints come up just shy, and the Atlanta Falcons take it at home. Week 4, on the road against the Giants. This is a game I think the New Orleans Saints are going to win. The Giants are going to be an improved team. Their running game, most people expect it to be better with Saquon Barkley, but here's what I expect. Their offensive line to be much of the same that it was last year. The Giants, Ricky, myself, we could both be playing for the New York Giants on the offensive line. That is how bad they were last season, and I don't see them being all that much improved. So things are going to be difficult for Saquon Barkley, and the defensive front of the New Orleans Saints are going to get an outstanding push. Eli Manning is going to be scrambling all day long. Barkley will not have a good game in the running game, maybe in the passing game, or rather the receiving game for him, unless they choose to put him in as the quarterback. He can't do that. He did in college. But this is a game the New Orleans Saints go in to New York. They get the W. And then week 5, right before the bye, they welcome in Washington. And I just don't think Washington has the weapons. Alex Smith is good, and I think that they're going to be balanced. They should be okay, but I don't think that Washington's going to be great. They lose Darius Geis for the season. That's a huge loss. They go back to what they were playing with last year. Chris Thompson, he's got to be healthy, and if he's not, you're going with a kind of a plug and chug running game, which is not all that great. New Orleans is going to get the win. Then they go into week 6. That's the bye. They're off then. Week 7, they come out of the bye. They go into Baltimore. There's nothing flashy about Baltimore. Maybe a little bit more so this year because you have Michael Crabtree, and he just brings a whole lot of something with him, that's for sure. You pull on his chain, and let me tell you, he ain't going to be happy. But the Baltimore Ravens, they don't do much for me. New Orleans, they do. They'll go in there, they'll get the win. Week 8, this is the one that Marcus Williams has had circled on his calendar since last year. Since the play last year where Stephon Diggs took it to the house. The rematch, the revenge game, it's going to New Orleans in Minnesota. It is going to the New Orleans Saints. They will get the win. It will be a close game, and New Orleans wins it on a last-second field goal by Will Lutz. Week 9, the Saints welcome in the Los Angeles Rams, who I believe will have a great season this year. But New Orleans here at home, I think they get the win. I think they go off. Drew Brees goes off for a couple of passing touchdowns. And you look at this New Orleans Saints offense that just lights up the secondary of Los Angeles. One of the few games that Los Angeles and their defense will be lit up but I think New Orleans is able to contain Gurley in this game. This is a game New Orleans wins. Week 10, New Orleans goes into Cincinnati, and Cincinnati has about as much excitement as the Ravens do. So New Orleans gets the win in that game, as Cincinnati just continues to struggle. It's another year of why the hell do we have Marvin Lewis as our head coach. Week 11, New Orleans welcomes in Philly. Now, this is going to be a tough game for New Orleans. I think Philly is just, they're stockpiled with talent, and they're going to bring it in to the Superdome. They're going to get the win. The Eagles will. Week 12, New Orleans is at home. They're taking on Atlanta, and this one, because New Orleans is at home, they play with that home field advantage. They get the win against the ATL. Week 13, the Saints go into Dallas. Dallas, a team that is still trying to find its identity. They're still going to be trying to find its identity. They're gonna be questioning a lot of things this year. No more Des Bryant. They're still going to be trying to. Dallas will be trying to find that number one receiver. It's going to be a tough season for Dak Prescott, but guess who's not trying to find their number one receiver? That is Drew Brees. He's got him. It's his name, Michael Thomas. Week 14, New Orleans goes into Tampa Bay, Raymond James Stadium, and the cannons are going off, but the other way. They're going off for the New Orleans Saints because the Saints are going to go in there, they're going to get the win. Jameis is going to be back, and assuming he's healthy, everything like that, he's going to be in at quarterback, but I still don't think that that's going to be enough. If I have to go with a quarterback battle here, pick the better quarterback, who's going to win? That's Drew Brees all day long, baby. Week 15, New Orleans goes into Carolina, and New Orleans gets the win there. Week 16, Pittsburgh comes into town, and this is a Pittsburgh team that may be on the decline. And people would say, Brandon, what are you talking about? How are they on the decline? Well, they're literally down to just the killer bees. That is it. That's all they have. Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. They've traded away and gotten rid of everyone else. They've got Juju Smith-Schuster. He's very good. He's a very good up-and-comer, but you know, you can take one of those options away and then it gets a little bit more difficult. Martavis Bryant is no longer there. Marcus Wheaton's not there anymore. New Orleans, I think, has more options there. I think New Orleans has more options. They get Benjamin Watson back. They've got a great running back, a great young running back. And the defense for New Orleans, I think, is better as well. Pittsburgh's defense is getting a little older. Well, New Orleans, they were getting older, but they had to restock and find younger guys, which is exactly what they have done. Especially, like I said before, I really like the secondary that they've created. That secondary, a younger group, getting younger. Week 17, so New Orleans, if I did not say it, New Orleans gets the win at home against Pittsburgh. Week 17 to end the season, the Carolina Panthers come into town. New Orleans sweeps the Panthers this season. The New Orleans Saints get the win, and yes, if you were doing the math along the way, and if you weren't, that's okay. We do it for you down below. You can just count up, how many wins they had and stuff. It's very simple. 13-3 is what I have the New Orleans Saints. 13-3. Now, some may call me crazy. Some may say, Brandon, you genius, you. Yes, those who say that, I like you, and I think you're right. I think the New Orleans Saints are going to be good this year. They were really outstanding last season. And because of a bad defensive play, unfortunate for them, it derailed what could have been a really good run to what may have been a Super Bowl. This year, the New Orleans Saints are back. They're looking good. They're going to make the playoffs again. And in what will be probably a tough division, the Atlanta Falcons will probably be back competing this year, as most seasons lately Atlanta has been. But the New Orleans Saints, they're just too good. They're getting younger on defense. They're getting better on defense. They've got an outstanding running game. When Ingram comes back, it's going to be exactly what it was last season, a two-headed beast. So watch out this season for the New Orleans Saints. 13-3, calling it right here. Make sure you go and check out the preview for the New Orleans Saints that Ricky and Mark Weber did. And make sure you check out all the previews and all the predictions for all of the 32 NFL teams this season. Football is right around the corner because no one cares about the preseason. I mean, come on, that's silly. but we are almost there. College starting up, NFL going to be starting up. It is that time, folks. Get pumped. And remember, always keep it right here on MVP for all the latest news and sports every day of the week.